See how it works when we're all together? 13 beautifully colored chickens. So here we are in this moment of time where everything stopped. And in that stopping, do we want to go back to what we've done before? Or do we want to do what we've done before, but in a different way? Do we want to take what we've done before and tweak it a little bit and do it this way? Why do you want to do your next step? And part of that, I would suggest, is even evaluating with your teams with that spiritual questioning ability. Do you want to tweak the plan? Maybe the plan up until now was to survive very difficult patterns that you brought in. And that plan's finished. So how about calling an end to the plan by a statement that says something like, all the doors that I no longer need are closed, and doors for my new choices open wide and pull me through. Even though you participated in creating a plan, you created the plan before Earth in that spiritual world. And now you've had a lot of experiences. You're now here on the planet. You can modify, add to, change, review your plan, which is what we're doing with reality statements, really. Like, let's make sure the plan, where do we want to end up? How do I want that plan to make me feel along the way? I have these gifts and I own these gifts. They're mine. Now, this is the way I want them to be used. I want them to benefit people, and I want them to fill me with energy. I want to be energized by the use of my gifts, for example. You see? So what I'm going to do is share a screen that just says, what makes life worth living? Because your what is part of your life. Now, when I was first asked, why are you doing what you're doing? It was easy, because I want to make a difference in people's lives. You guys know that one? I want to make a difference in people's lives. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden I realized that that's good. That's good, absolutely. But why am I on the planet? And how unbalanced is it for me to always be helping other people, and I never sit down and smell the roses? I never dig my feet into the sand of the beaches here on the island. Is that balanced? So I decided that my why had to include what I want to do for others, the impact I want to have on them, and what it is I also want to have in the next year, in the 2 years, for me on the planet. Because there's going to come a time we're all going to leave the planet. We won't have the trees, we won't have the rain, we won't have the roses. So I'm going to just mark off maybe 10 minutes. It's a lot. So if we get finished, if you want to come back before that's okay too. Just start thinking of your whys. Okay, and here's some questions to stimulate that for you. So we got about a minute left.
Sharon, you're muted.
Thank you, Kelly. So let's see, I'm going to unshare this. So when you come back into the group, I'm going to have you share what that experience was for you, or just some of the whys that you came up with, however that works for you. Okay. Looks like, and I don't know if Spirit got kicked off, but I'm assuming she'll be back. Okay, so here we are.
Sharon, Spirit left us a message saying she had to leave.
Oh, okay, got it. I haven't gone to that place yet. Okay, so she'll get the rest. Okay, so what was the experience like for you, or what whys have you come to at this point? And who wants to go first?
Sure.
Okay, Emma.
I mean, it's in a lot of ways I've been living the life that I want to live, you know, in terms of my personal whys, and living in beautiful places and having these incredible experiences in nature, sight and sound, and, you know, occasionally having really good food. But and so in a weird way, that's been more of my priority in having those whys, but to the detriment of doing things like supporting myself well, financially, and, you know, just like having a place to live and enough to eat, and things like that. And so I think what I'm seeing is that I've been really clear about my whys. I just haven't been balanced in the bigger picture.
Thanks, Emma.
I can go.
Yes.
So I found the exercise, I'm feeling confused today. I found it a little confusing, but then I figured out what you were meaning. And I had so much fun writing it all down and going with it. And then the very last bit that I got to was how do I not use my gifts? So I thought that was kind of interesting to land on that one last. And those were really interesting whys. And I just think it's so funny. I think Emma, I think, was who just spoke. She was talking about how she is so happy to live this is the life, you know, and that's how I'm feeling too. Like it really is all working out, you know. When I did the pie chart of time, and I was like, yeah, you know, I only do like 2 hours of worrying, you know, it's not that much, you know. And it was just interesting to be like, oh, you know, I'm doing so much better, you know, I'm in a lot less pain, there are painful days, you know, on and on and on. So yeah, that was what I came away with, is I have a lot on how I share, and I'm so lucky to have the job I have, and but it does drain me. So that's the how not. I'm not balancing well. I have, as you know, I have like one day, it seems like almost every week, one day where I'm just, whoa, I can't move. I just I serve too much. I serve too much. And that's okay too. but I beat myself up. I can't believe I'm not balanced, blah, 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 you know? So,
Got it.
yeah.
I see you moving, Gail.
Okay. Um, it actually boils down to love. I mean, I was listing my grandson and my love for essential oils and everything I wrote. Love put out brings love and joy back. I love love.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that simple for me. I just love loving when and it just keeps coming back to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's
Yep.
all I came up with.
No, it's good. That's good. Taking the time to see where you are, wherever that is invaluable. Absolutely. Audrey, I see ya.
There I am. You know, you hear Emma and Jay, and I'm thinking, oh yeah. So I'm right there with both of you. You know, I do what I want when I want. My kids are growing, they're graduating, and yet my pie chart has a lot of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not filling it up with things in the right way that I think it should be. As far as like the routine and what I have to offer, you know, and you know, you and I talked about that I have a website and there's no hits kind of thing, and I'm revamping that. You know, and my why is because I enjoy seeing people do better with insights and things that like that. It's just a matter of getting from point A to point B for me right now to get people
Mhm.
to do it. And I think that'll come as I figure it out, as I release the resistance more,
Mhm.
coming into my why a lot more fully.
Good.
Yeah.
Ellie. I think for the first time ever in my life, I am so clear. I mean, but looking at my pie chart, I don't do anything for me because I do everything for everybody else. That's something that's got to shift for sure at some point in time. But I'm so focused on wanting to help and set the stage of success for everybody else that I have a tendency to ignore my own world a lot, you know, this own thing. But regardless of that, I am so clear in my why. And that's that I just want to be able to know that I've made an impact, that something that I've shared has impacted somebody enough that their life can be led in a different way. I just want to share little tidbits of knowledge, a little tidbit here and a little tidbit there, and let them garner whatever it is that they can garner, whether it be through sage wisdom or through just knowledge of market or whatever it is. I just want to be able to touch.
Yeah. You know, in the law of reciprocity, I think we really are really experts at putting good out into the world. As women, we put good out into the world. And where we help unbalance things is, what is it for me? You know, what is it for me and my experience? And in the law of reciprocity, and I'm going to suggest, you know, this might be something I've been sharing this because I think it's something we really can focus, energize, and begin to shift energetically. This is how I've experienced the law of reciprocity. I didn't think that up. My guides just one day said to me, law of reciprocity. And I went, what? They said, the law of reciprocity. That's the law that says you give out 1, you get back 10. You give out 1, you give about 10. And it's the law that does it. And they said the corruption of that law is law of karma. You do negative, you get negative. You put negative, you get negative. The law of reciprocity is what we planned, because we all plan to do good. That's what who we are. We are beings of good. So they said, start, you know, talking about it, start playing with it. And it was really insightful to me. And I'm going to share with you how it worked for me. And then I'd love to hear, you know, if you work with it a little bit today, I'd like to hear tomorrow any feedback. So how it was for me is I would do the day. And like most of you, I'll bet the day for most of you is doing good in the world in some fashion. So it was only when I would lay down at night, you know, that I could say, okay, I've done good into the world. So I might have been doing a session, I might have been doing a class, I might have been writing an article. And normally what would happen, I noticed, you'd begin to notice things, right? I noticed that my mind would stay on, I wonder if I need to do more energizing of that, or how about catching words of this? I was connected to my doing of good. My doing of good, more ideas, more possibilities, doing good, doing good, doing good. Even as I'm trying to go to sleep, doing good, thinking that was the way that's just the way it is. Okay, law of reciprocity comes in and says, do good, receive good. Okay, how does that work? So I would go like, okay, I've done good. I've done these things today. I don't have, and I didn't go like, I've done 10 things. I need now 100 back. No, it was like, I've done good in the world, period. How do I then work with the law of reciprocity? So it was like, okay, well, I have to shift to neutral. Shifting to neutral was very difficult because there's another idea for good. Another idea for good, you know, and literally that's where it appears, is on my right hand side, doing ideas for good. So I went, whoa, that isn't the law of reciprocity. So then I went, okay, and I kind of reframing things in my head. This is how it worked for me. I went, okay, I've done this session for so-and-so. Yes, you guys brought me so-and-so for a specific purpose, right? Because I'm part of a plan for that person. Yes, that's right. Okay. Then have I done everything I need to do for that person, for your intention with that person? It was yes, of course. Okay. Do you need anything more of me? No. Unplug, you know, it's at that moment that I really got let go and let good. Let go. We've got it. Let go. We've got it. Stop holding on. So that was my biggest stumbling block, is to really be able to become an automatic shift to neutral. And the only way personally I could do it was to know that it's in the hands of their team. All they needed from me is what I did, whatever it might have been. And now they have it. Let go and let good take over. Okay, now then I practiced being at neutral, which is kind of like that. I don't, in Celtic, there's a name for that void, you know?
Ninga gap.
Yeah, a ninga gap. A ninga,
Ganinga gap.
oh, ganinga gap. I've really wanted to learn how to say that word. Ganinga gap. It's the beginning of things. It's a void. So get to that neutral place. And I made sure that I hold myself there. I don't quickly go anywhere. Be there, experience that. And then and again, I turn to the left. And again, I have to have I've used models to do that. Irrigation ditches. Irrigation ditches bring water to your garden in Utah. They bring water to your garden. If you don't have an irrigation ditch, you can't, when I was growing up, that's how your garden got watered, irrigation ditches. And they had different gates, water gates along the way, so everybody could take their turn. So that's the model I use. So I would turn and imagine the energy from above coming, but there was no open gate. So then I opened the gate of energy, just open the gate. And I had to practice keeping the gate open even. And it's a gate of energy. And after I did that for a while, I went, wait a minute. If the energy comes in too strongly, if that water comes down too fast, it'll wash out my garden, because my garden is used to this amount of energy. And I'm calling for the law of reciprocity, which will bring in that much energy. So in my imagination, I created a beautiful lake of energy, that energy could flow into the beautiful lake. And then as I'm ready to create an energy, my garden bigger or a new garden, now the energy is right there to bring it in. You see, I had to create a model. So that's what I used and still do to just anchor the law of reciprocity in my field. And like I said, has nothing to do with saying what that energy is going to do, what it's going to become. No, that's a next step when you're ready to use the energy. So yes, Kelly.
So I have a question, and I hope I hope it's an appropriate question, or if this makes sense. So when we're acting on behalf of that law, we're showing up to do what it is we're supposed to do. But the people, perhaps, that we're showing up to do this work, they have their own expectations, right? That word, expectation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when we're in that space and we're showing up, and we know that we're showing up exactly how we're meant to be,
Right.
it's not meeting another's expectation.
Yes.
But you know that you've already done all that you can do, but there's still this of expectation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to phrase this. I mean, there's only so much you can hold a container, but that's, you can hold a container, but you can't meet everybody's expectations. So how do you stay in that space of knowing you've done what you've meant to do, and not, this is really hard for me to articulate, because it's not about not being in a place of compassion, love, and grace, but it's also understanding that I've done what I've needed to do, and your expectations are something that you need to work through. Mm-hmm. That energy of the expectation. So does that make sense, what I'm trying to get to?
Totally. And I'll tell you two different things that I experienced, and it may start a different thinking for you, but early on, and I don't know why I knew to do this, but I did. And it was like, I knew that I didn't want to work with individuals who weren't ready to be accountable to their own healing mindset. So the way I worded it is, I don't work with those who play in the victim rescue game. That's how I worded it. Because if I am drawing to myself people whose story is sad, that's what everybody's story is sad. That's why they find us. They are sad in some way. They have a problem, right? There are those who come with their sad stories. And and if I say to them, have you tried XYZ? They go like, well, you know, I did that. They just, yeah, I did. They participated in some fashion. Yeah, I've done that, and this and this and this. But someone who is stuck in the rescue game expects you to be the savior, to fix it and make it better. So when you say to them, they have their story, you're really compassionate for that, you really want to help them, and then you say, now, what is it that you have tried? And they're going like, and they get angry. What do you mean? This, I tried that and he didn't do it right. I mean, then they make the one who brought them information the bad guy. That to me immediately is the victim rescuer game. And I say, no, thank you. I don't think my work is for you. You know, so that's one of the things is I said early on, I'm not going to work with individuals who are in the victim, still in the victim game. Not that there aren't those who can be there and need to be there. I just don't want to do that. And I have never had that. I have never had that in all these 20 years. I've never had to say no to anybody because there's been a filter. So there's that for sure. And that's part of, you know, the wise is, how do I want to use my energy? What kind of individuals do I want to have come to me? And so the more you clarify using your why as part of that, and we'll get into this tomorrow a bit more. So it's a perfectly appropriate question, Kelly, but a quick one. That's what I did and suggest everyone do with their gifts. How do I want to use it? I had early on, I had Saint Germain show up and say, I want you to be on my team to help people find land that's safe. I want you to go out there, tell them the world's going to be falling apart and they need to get to safety. That was a big deal in the 90s. And I thought about it. I went, you know what? No, I'm going to help people get rid of their fear. So thank you very much for the invitation. But I'm going to help people get, you know, address their fear so they're making choices from safety, from competency, etc. So it doesn't matter where the invitation comes from. You get to choose.
Gosh, you know, I see this, if I may, just, I know I know there's more things to do, but what I see is, if you think of the alchemy, right? And of course,
Yeah.
many of you are familiar with the term, the loom and things of that nature, but you think of the alchemy and you think of it as an inverted pyramid. When you come in as a fire, you're on fire, right? There's anger, there's things that you want to, and then your wind and you're blowing through it. And then your earth and you're beginning to filter all that stuff. But when you're in water, you're just in flow. You're just in flow. And so it's all this, it's just, so anyway, thank you for that. Is something that I've been really kind of just trying to be able to framework. And that to me is the visual that, you know,
Yeah.
it's just this, it's process, it's life. It's how we heal. It's
That's
how we
right.
do our work.
Yeah, and you can't do it for everybody, nor are you intended to. So
Yeah.
the wise is a really big piece of tomorrow is the wise.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So as kind of a review, so we're talked about foundations, the divine laws versus the culture of domination, the choosing of the landscape. Where do you want your game board to be built from? And realizing we are on a healing journey, especially when you put your foot on something new or that's really passionate. So you're going to be on a healing journey, but you're not alone. 13 beautifully colored chickens, because we get to cheer each other on. I hope you took a deeper look at your value, your experiences, your wisdom, some of the things that you've done. You've got that under your belt. And how then they might fit as you birth your new idea, it is important. And then start to think of, you are so unlimitedly wealthy because there's no end to the flow of life to you. And the only thing that stops you is by not forming your ideas because they're not worth anything. Oh my gosh, no. Or by forming your ideas without the law of reciprocity. No, the ideas, it'll come back to me. I don't know how, I don't need to know how. And it's also really important for you, as you looked at your whys, to see parts of your life that you really like. You don't want to let go of those. So, how do you create balance within all of that, you see? So before we leave, I'm going to do one little bit here and then we'll do our goodbye. So here we go. One more time.
Like I'm ready to go. So I joined in the chant, and it feels good. And for the rest of the day, even after we left Greenwood, I'd see my staff. I say, "Are you fired up?" I'd say, "We're fired up, boss. Are you ready to go?" I'd say, "I'm ready to go."
Once you hear it, you will never forget it.
So some people start putting "fired up, ready to go" on their shirts. Some people start putting "fired up, ready to go" on signs. Everybody's saying "fired up" and "ready to go." It shows you what one voice can do. One voice can change a room. And if the voice can change a room, it can change a city. And if it can change a city, it can change a state. And if it can change a state, it can change a nation. And if it can change a nation, it can change the world. Your voice can change the world. So I just got one question for you. Are you fired up? Are you ready to go? Fired up. Ready to go. 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 Fired up. Let's go change the world.
I think we're on board with that. So thank you for spending the day with me. Tomorrow we'll get together and see what we create tomorrow. And rest well. I'll send you some of the reality statements. I know you've probably written them down, but I'll send them out to you also with the JPEG of that disc creation process. So you have that. So that you just have it for overnight if you want to use it. So mute off. Love to everybody.
Thank you, Sharon.
Bye, thank you.
Everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Be well. Be well.
Take
Bye
care.
now.
Okay.
Bye.
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Good night.